Sup y'all, it's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today I want to give you guys a guide on how to play a Prot Warrior in Legion in patch 7.0. Now, a lot of people have been asking me why I've been playing Prot instead of the 2 DPS specs, and the honest and simple answer to that is that Prot is just better at soloing world quests, it's better at soloing any other type of world content, and it's also really good at finding dungeon queues because you're a tank. So basically anything that I'm doing whenever I'm not Prot, it always feels like if I was Prot, it would be just a little bit easier to do it. So I'm going to take you guys through everything that I've done to make that the case. We're going to look at talents, artifact traits, stat priorities, and pretty much everything else in between. First thing I want to do right now is look at the talents. First row here, go with Shockwave. Alright. Stormbolt sucks. You'd be better off using Devastate in basically any situation because you can proc Shield Slam. Warbringer is hard to use, so I don't really recommend that. Impending Victory is only really good for soloing, and even then it's basically shitty anyway. It doesn't really matter. I would not recommend going with Impending Victory for anything. Inspiring Presence is, in my opinion, the best talent. The reason for that is because you don't have to do anything, and it just heals your whole raid passively. Safeguard is good whenever you're tanking a raid boss with another tank and you want to reduce the other tank's damage taken, but even then, I just don't really think it's that useful. Inspiring Presence is just overall better, in my opinion. Avatar is very, very good whenever you're doing a really big AoE pull that you want to do as much damage as possible in that one AoE pull for. But overall, I feel like I gain more damage with Renewed Fury, and that's why I have Renewed Fury instead of Avatar. Also, Renewed Fury is always passive. Ultimatum is very good for a little bit more damage for single target, but personally, I don't really feel that it's that good. Renewed Fury is very, very good because I'm always trying to keep Ignore Pain up as much as I can. And every single time a Renewed Fury goes down, I use it again. So I pretty much always got this 10% damage bonus. So, I mean, like, comparatively, it's very, very good. Warlord's Challenge, it's garbage. Don't use it. It's terrible. So don't go with this one. Bounding Stride is very good whenever you want a little bit more mobility and you're doing a fight you need to move around a lot for, or soloing content. It's very decent, but in my opinion, I think Crackling Thunder is better just for picking up different adds and just for doing a little bit more damage to things that might be a little bit more out of reach. Indomitable is, in my opinion, the best overall talent here. Increases the maximum health by 25%, increases the maximum effect of Ignore Pain by 25%. So I think that's just in general better. It's just better overall. Never Surrender is very good whenever you're fighting a boss that takes you down a lot of health in one hit, so you can use Ignore Pain right after that, and you can heal yourself up, and the Ignore Pain does a lot more. But personally, I don't really think it's that good, and it also can be very good or very bad depending on what you're doing with it. Best Served Cold is basically just a DPS increased talent that you can use whenever you're doing AoE tanking. Personally, I don't really find it's worth it because I can just pull more with Indomitable and do more damage because I'm pulling more. Vengeance is very good whenever you're fighting a raid boss, especially whenever you combine it with Ultimatum and Heavy Repercussions. And so Ultimatum, Vengeance, and Heavy Repercussions would be your single target abilities, but I'm not really doing that a lot. Into the Fray is more of an AoE talent that gives you more damage. I wouldn't recommend going with that either. Booming Voice is what I go with because it not only gives you more damage with Demo Shout, it gives you basically an avatar with Demo Shout, but it also gives you 50 rage. That gives you a full Ignore Pain, so it's almost like two big cooldowns in one, and I just find it's just the most effective. Ravager is very good for AoE tanking. It obviously does damage to everything else around you, and it also increases your parry chance by 30%, giving you an extra defensive cooldown that you can rotate through whenever you're fighting a boss that does a lot of damage that you're trying to survive through. Heavy Repercussions is, again, a single target raid boss talent. I don't really recommend using it for a lot of other stuff. Ravager, in my opinion, it just feels better. I'm very, very used to using it, especially coupled with Neltharian's Fury and Battlecry. Using all those at the same time, it just feels really, really good. Anger Management I wouldn't really recommend using it personally. It's basically in every situation I feel like there's a better choice. So let's go ahead and look at our artifact traits now. Now obviously you have to start down at the bottom with the increased damage to Devastate, get the Neltharian's Fury, and after that you want to be moving up to Dragon Scales. Now Dragon Scales is basically whenever you critically block, or you block anything, I think it's whenever you block anything, there's a chance for you to, and you want to go for Dragon Skin and not the Thunderclap damage, focus on damage mitigation. That's what warriors are really, really good at. You want to focus on what you're good at rather than trying to be shitty at two different things at the same time. Reflective plating is also amazing because it not only allows you to reflect multiple spells, but whenever you do reflect a spell, if another magic attack hits you, you still have the damage reduction that Spell Reflect gives you naturally. Dragon Scales makes Ignore Pain basically absorb 40% more damage whenever it procs. It's very, very good. It's fucking amazing, and that's why you go for that first. Now, after that, you want to go for Scales of the Earth. Just go for the Intervene, and then go for the Heroic Leap thing. Then go for Scales of the Earth. Then you go for the Toughness, or I think it's Toughness, something like that. The Armor one, and then you can either go for stamina, like overall better stamina, like more health in general, or like throughput stamina, or also increased health from Last Stand up to 30%. Now, personally, I'm thinking I might go for Last Stand, and I might go for the stamina. I'm not really sure what I'm going to go for first. I'm not sure. It depends. For really big pulls in like Mythic plus Dungeons or something like that, I think that the Last Stand is probably going to be a little bit better, because it allows you to basically, because you're getting like, what is it? Like Last Stand gives you 30% extra health. So this is 60% total. It's just going to be basically making you unkillable. And again, you want to do as much, survive as much as you can, because that's really what Prot Warriors are good at. Toughness could be better in a raid tanking scenario, because usually Last Stand is going to always prevent a death, regardless of if it's 60% or 30% extra health. And then obviously you want to go with these last two talents at the end. They're not really super useful, but it's better than nothing. Now, obviously, the Revenge, the Revenge trait, I'm sorry if I use trait and talent interchangeably, you guys can kind of see what I mean, I hope. Revenge trait and also the Thunderclap trait are very, very good for AoE tanking, but in my opinion, I feel like, alright, so like let's look at all the tanks. Okay, Brewmasters, in my opinion, just kind of suck. I don't really know about Guardian Druids. Blood DKs are very good for surviving, but Warriors, and I think, are a little bit stronger, and so Prot Paladins are also very good at damage. So if you go for all the damage abilities, you're basically, the best you can get to is you can be the Kmart version of a Prot Paladin. That's the way that I look at it. And if you go for all the survivability talents and traits and everything like that, you can basically make Prot Warriors as good as what they're the best at already, which is surviving. So that's why I recommend going for survivability. And as you guys can see, Ignore Pain heal absorbs a lot. And so I'm going to take you guys through, also let's go through stat priority real quick. Strength, haste, versatility, mastery, crit. Done. Go for that. It's real simple. Haste is really good because it gives you more shield slams and also more thunderclaps. Mastery is good because it gives you more damage, and strength is good because obviously it gives you more damage and basically everything else. So I'm going to take you guys through two different pulls here. First one is going to be me doing a pretty big pull, and these are both on Mythic. A pretty big pull in the Naglfar in the Maw of Souls, and this is more of an AoE pull, and you guys can see the way that I'm doing it. As you can see, I just proc Dragon Scales. I used it there, and you want to use Dragon Scales with as much rage as possible. Sometimes I use Demo Shout whenever Demo Shout is up, and then I can also use with Dragon Scales, so I can get a guaranteed 60 rage Dragon Scales. Ignore Pain, which is something like 2.5 million absorbed for me. So it's really, really good. And so as you can see, I'm basically, whenever I get everything together, I'll throw down a Ravager, I'll pop Battle Cry, and then I'll use Ignore Pain, so I have the Renewed Fury damage buff, and then I'm going to go ahead and use Neltharian's Fury. Then I will end it with a Revenge, when it still has Enrage up. Revenge is your strongest ability for AoE tanking. You want to be alternating between Revenge and Thunderclap as much as you can for damage, and also use Shield Slam whenever one of those two things aren't up. And if you need more Rage as well, you want to obviously use Shield Slam instead of Thunderclap, or instead of Thunderclap, really, because obviously Shield Slam is going to give you rage, so you can absorb more damage. So I'm also going to take you guys through, and this is whenever I was like 820 item. The last, situation I'm going to take you guys through here is myself tanking Neuraxis on Mythic, which is already a pretty hard fight for tanks, but we're going to be on top of that doing the achievement for Neuraxis, which is going to be, at the end of it, increasing his damage by 300%. So, and I'll have a video out for how to do all these achievements pretty soon as well, but I wanted to show you guys the way that I'm tanking and the way I rotate my cooldowns and everything like that. Now, as you can see here, I'm pretty much trying to keep up Ignore Pain as much as I can, and also Shield Block, you want to use that as much as you can too. Shield Block is very cheap, so you never really want to have two charges. You always want to be burning down one charge. Now, also, Ignore Pain does scale with Resolve, and so usually I try to use Ignore Pain whenever I get grabbed by her, about 50% her or him or whatever, about 50% through. That way I can get the most Resolve and healing out of it. Also, whenever you take damage, you gain a pretty big Absorb as well. I used that pretty early on, and that was kind of a mistake in my opinion, and so that's why I almost died. So really, once you start to get really low and you're trying to just survive, you have a bunch of different cooldowns that you can use. You can use Neltharion's Fury. That makes basically, I think it makes every attack that you take a block. Also, you can use Shield Wall. You can use Last Stand. You can use Demo Shout, and you can also use Ravager. So those are 5 different abilities that you can use that are extremely powerful that you can chain together. And if you use Ravager at the beginning, or maybe Demo Shout at the beginning, you can maybe have Ravager up by the time that you need to use it again after everything else has been used. So all of these abilities, whenever you put them together, make Prot Warriors extremely powerful at negating damage. That is what Prot Warriors are the best at. They are good at damage. Okay, they're good, but outside of AoE tanking burst, they really just don't have it. And even whenever you look at AoE tanking burst, they still don't have the same potential that Prot Paladins do. So again here, I'm about to get grabbed, and so I use Shield Wall and Last Stand because this is obviously like a 200 or 300% increase in damage, and he also has Enrage up, and so at this point I'm just trying to survive however I can. And so Ignore Pain, you want to keep, as I said before, keep Ignore Pain up as much as you can, use Shield Block as much as you can, and basically most things are going to die before you do. Prot Warriors are, Ignore Pain is extremely, extremely fucking powerful. So I would recommend use Ignore Pain as much as you possibly can. There we are, we got the achievement. It really wasn't that bad, and I did this at 820 item level. So anyway, guys, that is what I believe is the best way to play a Prot Paladin, or not Prot Paladin, Prot Warrior. I've been talking about Paladins too much. Play a Prot Warrior. Obviously, you want to do things a little bit differently whenever you're fighting a raid boss, but in my mind, this is the best way for tanking Mythic plus dungeons and also just world content. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I got. I hope this video helped you. I've definitely really been enjoying playing a Prot Warrior. They seem extremely powerful, and so if you're playing a Warrior, I would definitely recommend to try out Prot. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.